Residents of Astir, affected by the construction of the Outer Ring Road, today protested in front of the Parliament, an action which caused significant clashes with the police and resulted in injuries to 16 officers and 1 citizen. The new Interior Minister, Lleshaj, has issued a statement condemning today's attacks on effective police officers, reminding citizens that officers are tasked with protecting them as well as keeping peace and order in society. Prime Minister Rama was clear and concise when delivering his speech today, declaring that only those who legally own their properties are eligible to receive compensation under Albanian law. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, the 22nd of November 2018. To our American viewers, happy Thanksgiving, and to all, welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Today's parliamentary session was marred by the protest action of the residents of the Astir area, who had previously warned of their intentions to fight for what they believe they are entitled to in regards to their dwellings, which are affected by the construction of the Outer Ring Road. Prime Minister Rama delivered a speech declaring that those who do not legally own their premises will not be compensated, as there is no entitlement to compensation under the provisions of the law. This statement caused protesters to escalate their actions and resulted in clashes with the police, the aftermath of which saw 16 police officers injured. 1 police officer suffered a blow to his ear, resulting in a loss of hearing, while a 24-year-old female officer was hit with a firecracker, which resulted in her losing 4 fingers from her right hand. Members of the opposition were also in attendance for the protest. Following the spate of injuries, police officers begged and pleaded with the protesters, urging them to calm down, and despite the residents communicating their refusal, the call did seem to calm the tense situation. Police remained present in the area and tried to remove those protesters who had become belligerent, forcing their departure from the area, though members of the opposition attempted to prevent this from happening in some cases. Once the protest had concluded, police cordoned off the area with crime zone tape, while members of the prosecution arrived at the military hospital where injured members of the police force were receiving treatment. Residents are far from finished in regards to their protest, having convened for a second time today since 5 p.m. in the Astir area, for which action is currently still in progress. The new Interior Minister, Lleshaj, visited the police officers who are temporarily being housed at the premises of the Military Hospital No. 6 after being injured during the protest of residents of the Outer Ring project. In a statement to the media, Minister Lleshaj said that the police officers were also targeted by certain political representatives. Additionally, the minister also visited a citizen who was hurt during the protest. "I came to follow the injured police officers and citizen. This situation is not just regrettable, but it is unacceptable and inexplicable that such abnormal things can happen on a seemingly normal day. Members of the state police being injured in the line of duty. We ascertain that the police have been hit by irresponsible citizens who, in violation of the law, attacked the officers. Police have also been targeted by certain political representatives who, in terms of civil and political irresponsibility, have encouraged violence against the police force," said Lleshaj. "I express solidarity for the effectives who faced these unacceptable and unnecessary scenes. Today we have a conflict between some citizens who are in opposition with the rule of law and with civil authorities. I issue the call to all citizens to understand that the police are the police of the people, and any attack on them is also an attack on national values and symbols. I call on those certain political representatives to distance themselves from violence and turn their support to the police, who are our police and the police of the citizens. Citizens should understand well that the government is committed to accomplishing the obligations for the benefit of the country, even those affected by the New Ring project. The excessive tolerance of the police should not be perceived as an act of weakness," concluded Leschi. Prime Minister Rama delivered a statement with strong determination, declaring that compensation will only be given to those who have the legal dwellings, despite the brutality which occurred during protests by the residents of Astir in front of the Parliament today. The head of government urged residents to not block roads because no one can indemnify lawlessness. "We must be very clear to all residents affected by the Outer Ring project. Those who hold a title of ownership will receive compensation according to the law and will depart from the area. The residents who do not hold an ownership title and have no alternative or additional homes will be granted rental assistance for a period of 3 years. The land abusers affected by the outer ring require over $30 million to release their properties, despite the land not being theirs to begin with. That means that before we can use your taxes to raise salaries, we must pay these professional abusers who have created a new and unknown category for themselves, explained Eddie Rama. We will not even consider such madness as to compensate those who abuse the territory against the public interest. You built your homes illegally, taking advantage of the mess of property laws at that time, but there is no way that we will spend the next 25 years with the state budget at your disposal to pay for your past decisions. Prime Minister Eddie Rama also addressed allegations that the cost of building the road segment from Palati Mishajeta to Eagle Square is too high. The opposition would like to see the road built like a poorly constructed pair of trousers. Trousers made with cheap synthetic material, with my waist measurements but the leg length of Erion Brache, with patches over the knees and holes in the crotch, with the expectation that we should be happy to wear them. Tell me, would you wear such trousers in public? This is the way the opposition builds roads. Meanwhile, we have a completely different approach. Our approach is for the Albania we want, and it is for this vision that the people of Albania, who love this country as we do, have voted for us to lead these changes, concluded Eddie Rama. About 317 buildings will be affected by the construction of the outer ring segment, which passes through the austere area. However, only 123 are legalised dwellings with appropriate ownership certificates. The Independent Qualification Commission today confirmed the judge of the appellate court in Gjirokastra, Anton Dimitri, as suitable to continue duty. The judge is also a candidate for the Council of Appointments in Justice. The decision was made by the trial panel consisting of Jensila Pine, Gente Tafa Bungo and Pamela Chico. Whilst it had been revealed that there was a connection between the judge and a figure of crime, the trial panel argued that the re-evaluation subject provided a credible explanation and was likely ignorant as to the individual's connection and involvement with organised crime. Following the hearing, Mr. Dimitri stated that he was confident the hearing had been held in full accordance with the law, that he had no objections to any portion of the process, and that he was satisfied with the decision to reconfirm him in duty. At the hearing session that was held yesterday, Chirko said the Commission had received information that his brother-in-law had been convicted in Greece and imprisoned for 20 years due to his involvement in trafficking of narcotics. This information had been passed on to the international monitoring operation by the Greek authorities and was determined to be factual. The judge had not declared this issue in his statements given for the purpose of vetting prior to the hearing, stating that he had no relationship with his brother-in-law and found out about the sentence he received much later. Given that this was the only point of concern in the judge's entire record, upon assessment of the three key areas of vetting, being wealth justification, expertise and purity of figure, it was determined by the trial panel that the judge was appropriate for the continuation of duty. The winter arrives again this year with the national road from Berat to Strapar still in a complete state of degradation. The 50-kilometre stretch of road links Polican with Strapar and their villages with Berat, but the state of the road presents significant problems for traffic conditions. The road has become a black spot source of accidents, particularly at the point where the borders of the municipality of Berat and the municipality of Polican meet due to the debilitated asphalt in this area. Drivers complain that, in addition to the significant damage suffered to their vehicles, the road condition also endangers their lives. The only intervention which has been seen in the area over recent years is that of attempting to fill potholes, despite the road requiring complete reconstruction. The President of Albania, Ilir Meta, is on an official visit to Skopje, where he met with the Prime Minister of Macedonia, Zoran Zaev. During the meeting, Ilir Meta commended Zaev for his country's progress and stated the desire for the Prespa agreement between Macedonia and Greece, which addresses the name issue, to be completed as soon as possible. It is important to successfully finalise the Prespa agreement. This would enable not only Macedonia's formal membership into NATO, but it would also be a decision which will be looked at favourably in June by those assessing the European integration process, marking a success for the progress of good neighbourly relations, peace and stability throughout our region, expressed President Ilir Meta. The President stressed that Albania is committed to respecting the rights of the Macedonian minority. He also added that cooperation between the governments of the two countries under the framework of the Berlin process is of great importance. Meanwhile, Zoran Zaev pointed out that Macedonia's objective is to create a multi-ethnic society with equal rights and fair treatment of all citizens. After the full implementation of the Ohrid Agreement and the entry into force of the law for Albanian language, the successful conclusion of the Prespa Agreement with Greece, the implementation of judicial reform and the reform of the public administration, Macedonia hopes to realise its dream of membership in NATO and to progress into the European Union, outlined the Macedonian Prime Minister. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.